inside you. Go! The things you've never known. It's been tough, rough going, but you haven't gone alone.
We do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day.
Be all that you can be.
Hey, First Sergeant. Good morning.
You can do it in the army.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I'm your host, AirsoftAL. Welcome to another AirsoftAL reviews. The first one of, well, not only the first one, but one that I get to cover one of my favorite SMGs. One that I have always wanted to own. Real steel, airsoft, doesn't matter. I love this MP5 for a variety of reasons, but one of which has to be Navy SEALs, the movie, where it was predominantly featured in many of the artwork. Especially many of the other stuff. Hell, I've loved playing it in SOCOM's Navy SEALs back on the PS2 days. But you probably thought I was talking about, of course, the other model that is more known in the Christmas classic Die Hard. Well, sad to disappoint you, but no, I'm not talking about that one. Today I'm talking about, of course, the MP5 SD. Now, this one right here is actually the competition model, which sadly is $200, overpriced, and sad to say, you can get cheaper if you buy the SEMA variant.
What the fuck?
But we're not here to talk about that. No, ladies and gentlemen, here I want to thank, of course, John Henry for actually allowing me to review this. This was his before I got it. And then, of course, it was Seth's before I got it in a deal. And, sad to say, there's some things about it that kind of, yeah. So, let's go ahead and get into this. First off, let me just say now, the placement of this little piece right here that you see for the claw mount, unless you get a specific claw mount for it, the one I have, which is by UTG, does not work with it, and is kind of finicky as all hell, so I mean, it will come on here, it will clamp on here, but it won't lock down in the position it needs. So I will be checking out a variety of claw mounts from Amazon and many other places in the future, kind of talking about which one's perfect for which. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is, of course, a Umarex H&K licensed competition brand MP5. So, yeah. But before I get into it, let me go ahead and let Zach Hazard talk about, of course, the MP5's history.
The MP5! It's finally mine! Yes!
Your favorite gun of all time.
Oh my god, I love this gun! You have no idea!
I've got a pretty good idea.
You have no idea!
I know you like that gun. You said it multiple
Yes!
times.
Oh! Slap me harder, daddy! As far as I'm concerned, this is like the Cadillac of submachine guns. It has a fluted chamber to aid in extraction. However, the downside to that means that it, you kind of can't really use the shell cases again to, like, reload them.
Fluted is like rifling, but it's a different kind of rifling.
Usually, fluting is on the outside of it. The fluting allows it to be extracted easier.
It's like, it damages the casing once it's fired.
Yeah, but it allows the casing to be extracted much easier.
Okay.
Yeah. Man, I freaking love... This gun is so good and so popular that HK tried twice to replace it. First, they tried it with the very creatively named HK SMG and SMG2.
Could just call it the MP6, but whatever.
They tried to replace the MP5 with those, and the Navy went, yeah, they're real cool and all, but then just give us more MP5s.
All right.
So then later they tried to replace it with the H&K UMP, which was in 45, and everybody that they tried selling it to went, yeah, that's really cool. Sure, it's lightweight, but no, give me the MP5 back.
Everyone just wants the MP5.
Yeah, they just want the MP5 because it's just better.
No need to reinvent the wheel if you've already made the perfect gun.
don't get me wrong, the UMP definitely has some advantages. It's generally cheaper to make, but because it's H&K, it still costs more money. The UMP's it's cheaper to make that one because it's mostly made of polymer, but then again, the MP5 is just made out of stamped sheet steel. You hear a lot of people that say, oh, you shouldn't slap the charging handle on it, that's not good for the gun. It literally says in the manual you are supposed to slap it.
Just do it.
The manual is like, yep, just slap it, it's fine, you're not gonna hurt it.
Chamber the barrel, then slap your gun. Put a new magazine in. Kick it in the dirt for a while.
Whenever I show people this MP5, they're always like, why don't you put the collapsible stock on there? And it's like, yeah, the collapsible stock is classic, it looks really good, but the problem with the collapsible stock is it's freaking heavy, and I gotta carry this thing around all day. And the other problem, granted this gun doesn't have a whole lot of recoil, but it kind of feels like just getting hit in the face with a chunk of rebar when you shoot it, so it's not a lot of fun. Operation Nimrod.
Why?
Operation Nimrod was the name of the SAS operation to retake the Iranian embassy in London.
Okay.
And it was actually one of the first times that anybody really saw the MP5 being used by a special operations group. Also, one of the first times that anybody really saw a special operations group do anything.
Normally, the fact that they operate in secret is what makes them special.
It helped that it was on television.
Obviously, it makes
But
sense.
it's kind of the event that brought the MP5 into the public zeitgeist, if you will.
Ooh, zeitgeist, nice.
Yeah. Yes! Finally, I can have the MP5 SD that I've always frickin' wanted.
Okay.
I bought a 20-round mag for my MP5. It's a piece of shit.
Is it?
Yeah, it won't actually seat in my MP5, no matter what. Like, I lock the bolt back, the magazine is empty, won't seat in my MP5. I don't understand it at all.
Did you get an MP5 magazine, or did you get maybe an AK magazine?
No, it's an MP5 magazine. It will not go in there. Also, you can't put an AK magazine in an MP5.
Maybe it's an MP5.1.
Also, when I completely load the magazine, the floor plate tries to go boom and launch out the bottom of the magazine.
Gonna get a refund?
It wasn't that expensive. I guess I'm just not gonna use it.
You're just gonna eat the cost.
Yeah. There is a specific handguard for the MP5 that has a flashlight integrated into it. I bought one. The reason you're gonna judge me is because it costs $600.
For a component for your firearm.
For a handguard that has a flashlight on it. So I spent $600 on a flashlight.
Didn't the gun itself cost about $600?
No, the gun costs like $2,000 something.
And you put a $600 attachment on it.
I tried using it. I went, wow, I can't believe I spent $600 on this thing.
Yeah. Did it give you $600 worth of joy?
No, I put it back in the box and sent it back to the company and was like, yeah, I need to return this.
You had a moment of self-reflection.
Yeah.
Those are quite rare. Congratulations.
Yes, it was incredibly expensive, and I realized the moment I had done that I was like, yeah, this was a mistake. I shouldn't have bought this.
What captivated you initially? Was it good marketing?
No, it's just like one of the coolest looking handguards for the MP5.
But it wasn't $600 worth of cool.
No, it just wasn't. Yes, I finally have an MP5 SD.
SD,
Yes!
SD stands for silencer dummy.
It stands for something in German.
Suppressed drumstick.
I don't remember what SD stands for. I'm sorry, I'm a bad gun nerd.
So, what about this is actually worth the money? Well, first off, it's a polymer body, not even steel upper, polymer lower, and the magazine is really the only one that's steel. This is a high cap, and of course, I would do the iconic HK slap, but the charging handle on here broke, and since it's not using the standard charging handle that you see a lot of for other MP5s, I don't know if the standard charging handle buffer tube assembly would actually work in this. However, I do have plans in the future to actually change this out to be a classic MP5 in the future, including a solid stock. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love the wire extending stock here, even with the sling loop, even with the rubber, with everything about it. It is nice, it is iconic for, of course, you Half-Life fans out there. But not really my cup of tea. I like my classic MP5s. I'm going to build this up as a classic MP5. I'm going to have it rear wired because it's front wired, and sad to say, this is another thing I don't like about it. To get to the battery compartment, you have to undo these little clamps right here, which Not that hard to do, but easy to lose. And when you do get it off after a bit, let me go ahead and just do this. There we go. Twist it off to the side, pull it off, pull this up. You get exposed to the Tamiya connection and the barrel, which, again, just one of those things. Now, you can remove the suppressor, but you guys didn't know that, did you? Yeah, the suppressor has this bit of gripping right here to where you can actually twist it off this way a bit. Once it comes loose, you can literally pull it off, and you have access to the suppressor, which you can remove, and basically, there's the end of your barrel. It's about that length, which I am tempted to keep it like this just and giggles, but I do like having the full length, so we're just going to put this back on, line it up with that right there, twist it on. There we go. Now, it does have your standard HK diopter sights. You got your fixed front sight, and you have your adjustable rear sight with the barrel right there. You have, of course, the 3-point sling system, which is here, here, and here. Of course, with this, you have an extra sling point there, but originally it was just here, here, and here for the HK sling, which whether or not it was effective, I leave up to you guys who actually do rock the HK sling. Now, the controls are fully ambi, but unlike the actual MP5, sadly this does not have a 2-round burst, which, then again, I don't really get the whole burst fire function. I get the burst fire function for those of you who actually do like burst fire. That's completely up to you, but I myself, not really that much of a burst fire fan. Now, again, it's all standard MP5 just things. And since this is a pre-owned review and not brand new, I'm not going to go directly too deep into this. What I will say is that this is MP5 through and through. And I do like it through and through. Even the wire stock, which if this was real steel, the metal would be freaking whacking you in the face, giving you a nice little bit of bruising right there in your cheek. And the cheek, well, is standard MP5, so you can somewhat shoulder it. But again, metal is going to kind of, yeah, that's why I like full stock. And I like wood too, but that's neither here nor there. So, let's go ahead, get to the FPS test, the distance test, and then come back here for our final verdict, shall we? Now, before we get into the FPS test, I really want to talk about just this. This legitimately does suppress a little bit of the sound. And if you remember earlier when we took this off, that yes, there is technically some sound suppression. While yes, the gearbox and all being back here will still be loud, up front a little bit, it's not that bad. Now let's just, a little dry fire test just to kind of show you what I mean. So, this is not loaded, it is completely empty, it is cleared, but I want to kind of give you guys a little bit of a sound difference. We'll also do this with BBs going through it as well, just so you can kind of get different sounds of it. So, snappy trigger, by the way. Love the snappy trigger. So let's go ahead and take this off. Okay, I had to actually give it a nice little twist. So, now without the suppressor on, which by the way, yes, you can take this off, and there's the extra orange tip there. Let's see what it sounds like. A little louder, right? And let's go ahead and load some BBs just to see what it sounds like through the actual barrel, between the two differences, audio-wise, of course. Semi-auto. Definitely an audible, I want to say definitely an audible difference, but, yeah, no. So let's go ahead and, there we go. Oh, cool, so I can actually keep this in here, and actually, I need to glue this back together, probably. But then again, it also helps, a little bit in the future. Moving on. So let's see what this sounds like without the suppressor. Definitely a large audible difference. Definitely. So, let's go ahead and get the chronograph, which is right over here, mind you, and see what this thing sounds like. Because again, or not sounds like, let's see what the FPS is on this. So, semi-auto, once again, I will definitely probably keep it in this configuration for the rest of the video just because, you know, I kind of like the look of it. I've always loved the look of the fatter, like, SD-style handguard with no SD barrel, but, you know, one of those things. That makes it a lot easier for FPS testing. So, Evike brand point 2 is, let's see what kind of FPS we're getting out of this. 266. 272, 280, 240, 274, 204, and that BB went flying back to my face. So we are actually well into the below 300s. So, granted, this is a pre-owned, so I'm not going to say that's the stock FPS. But that's not bad. Like, it really isn't that bad in terms of a lot of other things. But, either way, though, let's go ahead, take this outside, and honestly see what kind of distance we're getting just out of this alone. Here we are outside, of course, doing our venerable range test with, of course, the MP5 here. Now, I am going to be using a Titan 11-1 LiPo, which, sad to say, is kind of not able to fit with the shroud on because it's a brick-type LiPo, and I don't exactly have any LiPos that's able to. Yeah, but don't worry, in the future, like I've said before, I'm going to rear wire this thing, because as much as I like the collapsible MP5 stock, kind of don't like it at the same time. Love-hate relationship type deal. But I've got ACOG on here, so I'm able to see where I'm able to shoot at. Again, pre-owned, so I can't do the HK slap, sadly. But let's go ahead, get the run cam on. And now that we're outside, I'm going to be doing some audio tests. I'm going to do it with the suppressor on, and then I'm going to do it without the suppressor on. So before we do that, let me go ahead, make sure that the hop-up is dialed up. Because once again, like I said before, the hop-up here is kind of a... yeah. So let me just go ahead and ensure that this is actually shooting. Hop-up is kind of a little crazy. Ooh, let's push that forward a little bit. Feeding issues already. That's not a good sign. I have the hop all the way down, and it is... yeah. Be glad you don't see the run cam footage on this. Well, point two is we're definitely getting some... But hearing it as it is, like... you can definitely hear an audible difference. So I'm just going to go ahead and take off the suppressor, see what kind of audible difference we got then. Definitely a big difference. Definitely a big difference. So we're just going to go ahead and attach the suppressor back on. There we go. Let's go ahead and get the run cam on and see what kind of distance test we're getting. So we're just going to go ahead and do the barrel, which is about standard engagement distance. Okay, let's hit the broadside of a barn. We're hitting the broadside of a barn. We're literally hitting the broadside of a barn. We are literally hitting the broadside of a barn. So let's go ahead and just go for straight distance at the tree line and just see what we're getting distance-wise. We're hitting the tree line. We are literally hitting the tree line. That's with the hop up. That's with the hop up all the way off. That is. Let me see about bringing the hop up just a little bit up a bit. See what that does. Wow. I got nothing, ladies and gentlemen. I literally have nothing. Now, I'm gonna take the suppressor off. See what that does for us. So let's see with the suppressor off what that does. So barrel again. Barn. It's hitting the barn. Tree line. Even though it's a pre-owned and has its issues, it actually does pretty good. It really does. Now, what about full auto? Well, with the suppressor on, let's go ahead and get the suppressor on here. Let's try some full auto burst. I can't argue with those results. I really can't. It is... Well, let's go ahead and get inside and, well, give our final verdicts, shall we? So overall, the MP5 is definitely an interesting animal, or at least the SD model competition. Now, while yes, I would have loved for an actual full charging handle to where it would expose the hop-up unit, which most traditional MP5s is slide style, like a AK, they didn't do that here. They instead went with for the fully modeled, just molded upper. I mean, yes, that does somewhat cut down on cost if it was actually the SEMA price tag, but it's not the SEMA price tag. Instead, you're paying the HK cost, the Umarex cost. And in my opinion, don't do that. Go for the half off, go to save your money, and believe me, the hop-up being exposed right here is not exactly the best thing about it. Now, like I've said many times before, I do have plans for this. My plans are to rear wire it, put a full stock on here, put the classic HK front up here, probably replace the upper here with a stamped upper, proper charging handle, and everything else in between, because I like my HKs the way they should be. Again, that's just me, though. And overall, the final verdict for the Umarex HK MP5 SD, no more, no less, and this is a pre-owned price, mind you, or pre-owned score, mind you, no more, no less than a 8 out of 10. It is a good gun, but not for the price tag. Save your money, go for the SEMA, which is what they're using. They're using a SEMA SD, and if you can find the MP5 SD from SEMA that has electric blowback, all more power to you. And like I said, just save your money. Anyway, thank you all so very much for watching. As always, I've been AirsoftAL, and wait a minute, it's October. You know what that means? October reviews! Wait a minute. October reviews. Oh, shit! Oh, God, no! No, please, oh, God, no!